So do you see that ATM behind me? That's kind of where this story takes place, and at night too. So last summer I would walk all the time, afternoon, nighttime and such. And to the end of my hike at nighttime I was hiking over here. I was hiking by Yogurt Land and I saw 3 boys on their skateboards, and they actually got yogurt, and I was walking by and one of them actually got those like little blast, like whatever you call them, and asked me, do I want one? And I said, no, but they're delicious though. And because of my cleanliness, I didn't want to have anything anyway where a person touched it. So anyway, I continue on to 7-Eleven down the street and to get this like coffee drink or cappuccino, which was like a norm for me back in December 2021. And I came all the way back, and when I was coming back, I noticed the boys playing on their skateboard, and then I literally witnessed with my eyes one of them, like the smallest one, literally fall from that Bank of America ATM. I'm like, oh no. And the next thing I heard was the most blood-curdling screaming, and I ran over there because I'm an emergency medical responder and I care for other people and I want to help people. And I was like jogging over there. I ran past the person kicking them out, like probably one of the parents. I ran past her and over to the boys, and his arm, his wrist was literally broken and twisted. I mean, literally. And I never witnessed that before, and I know what to do. You splint it, and there were no splinting materials. But the person taking care of them, she called the mother, and the mother came over and to take him to the hospital, and that's what happened. But I just was feeling so guilty because I knew what to do medically, but at the same time, I didn't have the materials. And the woman taking care of all 3 of them was like under her breath, I don't know what to do, I just don't know what to do. And I'm saying, you're supposed to splint. And we're asking like people who worked at the Burger Lounge, do you have splinting materials? So that's like cardboard or like a pillow or magazines or something. And there weren't any, and so I just stood there for moral support until the mother arrived. And the mother finally arrived, and the boy got in the back seat of the vehicle, and I noticed that the person taking care of them outstretched her arm like in a prayer formation. And of course I was praying too in my spirit. And right before I left them, I said, I'm so sorry, I just didn't have anything. And she was like, that is completely okay. And I said, well, I said a prayer for him. And then that's when she marveled and put her hands together like a prayer hands. But guess what? It was a broken arm. I knew, even if I never get to see them again in my life, that everything was okay. However, I was substituting at Kaiser Nice Elementary School, and guess what? The person whom I was subbing for, one of the 5th graders, recognized me from that night. He was actually one of the boys that night, and during lunch sometime or recess, he introduced me to that boy that broke his arm, and we got to say hi to each other. And I said, well, I'm very glad that it looks like you're all better, of course. And I just completely lose sleep over that, especially anytime when a medical emergency or something that needs first aid arises. And I almost always, or pretty much always, carry a pocket first aid kit with me anyway. And that's because I'm a Royal Ranger, I'm always ready. And that reminded me of another story. In the fall of 2013, my mother and I were driving down Newport Boulevard on the way to Orange Coast College. It was my first semester and we were trying to figure something out. And I remember looking over by Stater Brothers, and there was a woman on the ground and a few people around her trying to wake her up and such. And there just so happened to be like a Crown Vic police officer car come by, and they were beckoning her, but she didn't see, and the officer just kept on going. But for me, I'm like, woman down, turn around, just turn around. But you know, it was too late, and Newport Boulevard on that side is like a one-way street, and it was like too late. And I'm like, well, pull over to Stater Brothers, but my mother was on the far lane and it was just too late, and I just wanted to rush over and see what I could do to see if I needed to even do CPR. A while later, I saw the same lady on a bus bench somewhere in Costa Mesa, and I'm like, okay, I believe everything's all right. One more story real quick is that right after I got certified as an emergency medical responder right before 12th grade, I was like, bring it on, I'm ready for anything. And then in 12th grade, after school, I heard a person screaming and hollering because she got stung by a bee. And she's yelling out, does anyone have tweezers? Do you have tweezers and such? And I'm looking at my first aid kit, and before anyone comments, just let me finish the story. I walk over to them, and I'm feeling kind of a bit amazed that I get to help somebody. And so I was holding up my emergency medical responder CPR card and the first aid kit, and the guy who was with her said, oh, he's in my health class, he's okay. And she looked at me and said, do you have tweezers? And I said, you know, I'm looking all over my first aid kit, but I just can't find any tweezers. And I was so apologetic. And then a security guard came over and just said, hey, you just need to go to the nurse's office. And that's exactly what happened. So, okay, just in case anyone commented out loud, You do not use tweezers for a bee sting. You use like a card and such, and it's like I remember learning that. Here's the thing with autism, if you have everything like a whole protocol in your mind and then all of a sudden it changes at the last minute, or it's like you finally get to do something and now you draw a blank. This is a big trait with autism. I just wanted to bring that out in this video too. And then in 12th grade, I heard a lot of people like scream,